Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Welcome back to another episode. Today on the podcast, commit to this before you get married. I don't ever really talk much about marriage or about, well, I know I've talked about commitment and dedication, but today, this is what you got to commit to before you get married. We are in Proverbs chapter 16, and I love this chapter because in this chapter, I have a couple of favorite verses. One is my absolute favorite. I'll let you know what that favorite is. Now, before I give you the favorites and what that verse is, I just want to talk quickly about marriage because the only reason I'm going to maybe talk about this because I'm in my 25th year of marriage. And I can tell you that if I would have done this, that I probably would have skipped a lot of issues that I had early on in marriage. So prior to getting married, we went to marriage counseling. Has anybody gone to marriage counseling? The reason why I went to marriage counseling is because they said, hey, if you're going to get married, well, we was getting married at a church. If you're going to get married here, you're going to have to see the pastor. You're going to have to, make sure that you, just check all the boxes. And so there it was. We go to marriage counseling. We're checking all the boxes. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing about, about going to marriage counseling. We weren't ready. Oh my goodness, we were not ready. We were so far down the road. We had not thought about the things that we should have been thinking about. And you would think that, hey, I think I was 28. I think I was 28. She was 25. So here it is. I was turning 28. We hadn't thought about the things that the pastor was sharing with us. And we was in marriage counseling looking at each other like, what in the world's happening? But we were so close to marriage. We're not going to call off the. It's not that we needed to call off the marriage. It's just that we had not thought about some of the things that you should think about. And I'm going to tell you, had I read this chapter here, I would have understood where my commitment should have been. Because I'm thinking, I got to make a commitment in this relationship. Because a lot of times we get into relationships without really fully committing. I think I was watching something recently. Movie, I can't remember what it was. It was an old movie from like in the 80s, late 80s. And this guy was kind of like playing around with a bunch of girls. And then he was asking all of them to marry him. And there was one where he was asking her to marry him. She says, well, I just thought we move in together. Right. A lot of times when it comes married folk these days, they just try it out. Let's just, let's move in together and act married. That's not the kind of commitment we're talking about here. Because look, if we got to do that, then we're not actually following the process. I'm not throwing shade on anybody who's done it, because at the end of the day, that's my personal belief. Right. I didn't do it, but it doesn't matter if I did it or not. If you did it, great. Did your marriage work out? Great. But the scripture tells me exactly what I should be committed to before I do anything. Now, I'm going to read the first 3 verses of chapter 16 of Proverbs. These are some really good verses. The first one, to humans belong the plans of the heart, but from the Lord comes the proper answer of the tongue. In the King James, I love how it says in the King James. It says the preparations of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. I love that version of it. And then we're going to read verse 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirits. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. I had a thought to get married. Man, I should get married. I remember it's October the 5th of, 1998. I had just gotten a job proposal. I was working for MCI at the time. MCI had just sold a division of their company to a company called Cable and Wireless, telecommunications company that basically bought their whole internet division because MCI had just merged with WorldCom. And because they merged with WorldCom, because of all the rules and stuff around telecommunications, they had to sell off pieces of their company that would have made the monopoly. And so here it is. This section of MCI was sold. Cable and Wireless took it on. And then my boss, I was working temp. And so she gives me a job proposal. She gives me a full-time offer. It was the most, I don't think at the time my parents had ever made that amount of money in 1 year. This was in 1998. I think the amount was 49,200 and it was a weird number, but it was almost $50,000 per year. Now, mind you, this is 98. I got out of school in 95. My first job was 24,000. Second job was 28,000. And then 28,000 went to about 32. And I was right around 32, 33 once I'm kind of like, working there. And she offers me a job for almost 50,000. And immediately I had a thought, because me and Jenny were dating, and we were dating, and I was wondering when would be a good time to get married? Anybody know a good time to get married? I didn't know a good time. I wasn't even really thinking about marriage like that, even though we were dating. I mean, all of a sudden I had this thought. Think about it. It says in the King James, it says, "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." And then it says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your thoughts. And I'm sitting there like, get married. Where I worked, I was across the street from Pentagon City Mall in Arlington, Virginia. Literally lunchtime. No, it wasn't lunch. I just took a break, went across the street to Zales, got a Zales account, and purchased a ring. Called her up. Hey, well, actually, yeah, called her up that day. Hey, I'm gonna come by. We're gonna let's go to dinner tonight. Went to Houston's restaurant in, I guess that's like Bethesda, Rockville area of Maryland. And man, Houston's good. We go there. We're having a good old time, and here it goes. Pop it out. Bam. I had not committed I had not done this step yet, even though it was a good idea. See, it doesn't say that just because you may not be fully committed that it's not a good idea. Because look, that was a good idea. That was one of the best decisions I've made to get married. Had I known this in 1996, 7, and even before I did it, I would have had a better understanding of where I was going. See, what a woman wants is a man who knows where he's going. The reason why she was with me, for the most part, she thought I would turn out to be somebody. I'm not saying she was like trying to ride on my coattail or anything like that. All women want to be with a man that's going to do something with their life. I think she saw something in me early on that even I didn't see. And there it was. I'm making a commitment to her, but I had not made the commitment to God. So why do you think there's so much divorce? Well, even in people who think they are committed to God, there's divorce, tons of it. Why is that? Because look, and this is my personal opinion. If you're watching this, oh, Jay, that may not be true. Okay, great. Whatever that is. So this is my personal opinion, and I'm just going to give it right here. When we make the commitment for the wrong reasons, I'm talking about the commitment to God, because some Christians have made the commitment to God, but they've gotten baptized, right? I had already been baptized. I've been baptized at least by that time. I was baptized twice. I was baptized when I was young. I was baptized even when I was in high school. So I've been baptized twice up until this point. Fast forward another year, I got baptized again. Maybe within the first year we were married, I got baptized again 3 times. But let's just stick with the 2. Had I not made a commitment to God, commit thy works commit to the Lord whatever you do. It didn't just say commit your marriage, but if I just says commit your marriage, if I commit my marriage to God, even before I get married, all right, Lord, what are your plans for me? What are your plans for this marriage? What are your plans so that this marriage can be the best marriage? Do you know if I asked that question, he would have told me what it is? See, back in James, I think it's probably James chapter 1 or 2, it says, if you need wisdom, ask God. He's got plenty of it. He wants to give it to you. And back then I needed wisdom. And I remember what's going on. Here's what I remember. I remember reading Proverbs. I would try and wake up early in the morning, read Proverbs. I'm falling asleep. They said you got to read it early in the morning. I was not interested. Have you ever done something that you know you should do, but you're really just not interested in it? I was not interested in the Bible. I did not understand what good came out of the Bible. So if a person's going to get married and they make the commitment, we can't just make the commitment to the person, because if we make the commitment to the person, we will cut that at the first, third, fourth, or fifth sign that the person is not acting the way we want them to act. Man, the person did this. Oh my goodness, he's making me mad. Oh, the person did this. Oh, she's making me mad. Oh, the person's doing this. Yeah, I get it, man, because I know I make Jenny mad. I know she gets tired of me some days. I know I get tired of her. Here's the thing. Now I'm committed to God. So because I'm committed to God now, the things that may have bothered me, I try not to. There's things that probably still bother me, but I try not to let them fester. See, because if I'm going to think about something, let me think about the work that God wants me to do. Let me just think about that. It's interesting because, when I think about why I do this on Facebook and YouTube, and had someone recently have a conversation with me about why I do these things or whatever. And what I share with the person is that this is media. I said, this is media. And I use the platform as such. It's media, and media, guys, media is the thing. It's like getting the word out. So if Jesus Christ was here today, what kind of media do you think he had? He would be on TikTok. He would be everywhere. Now, he may not be filming it himself. He may have his disciples would be doing it, because that's kind of how he wrote. Other people told the story, but he would have a video team, and that video team would be always out there. He would be producing his sermons. He would have a microphone in front of him. He would always be talking about his message. See, that kind of thing, you have to have a different kind of commitment to get started. Think about it. It took him 30 years. 30 years. Now, he knew he was the Son of God. He didn't know when he was going to get started. Then the day comes to get started, and then God puts him through all kind of stuff. See, a lot of times we commit to things and then things happen. Imagine you commit to a marriage and then things happen. All of a sudden your wife is acting up. Your husband is acting up. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Not my words. The words that God gave Solomon. And if we actually believe those words, if we actually believe that God gave Solomon these words and that Solomon actually lived, and he was and is the wisest man who ever lived, then why haven't we listened? Why haven't we done what Solomon says to do in these here books? Why haven't we done it? I don't know. We're human. And as humans, for some reason, we like to go towards things we shouldn't be doing. That's always from the beginning of time. But today, as we move forward further into 2024, we're going to need a commitment to the Lord so strong. We're going to need a commitment so strong because when the inevitable comes, the problems, the tragedies, the situations, the circumstances, the rough times, the stuff we don't want, the loss, the failures, like when those things come, what are we going to lean on? Are we going to lean on what we want? Or are we going to lean on the fact that God has already established what it is that we're supposed to do? And just because we have those problems are just ways of saying keep going. Ways of saying keep going. So if you're not married, right? If you're not married, I would suggest taking that and saying, wait, before I get married, I'm going to commit to the Lord a marriage first. I'm going to commit the things that I want to get done. Because if I do that, just like I'm sitting here making the commitment all over for my marriage, for my business, for whatever I'm going to do, because look, at the end of the day, guys, it's all work. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Commit to the Lord, whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. God bless you guys. I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.